Well, I found the breaker and it shut off all the lights. Hopefully there's going to be enough light on here to where you can see. And this will still slightly chirp because it's just going to do that. Now, unscrew it, and usually you loosen it to the left, but this one I went to the right. I've got the power off. Okay, it drops down, and there's a plastic goodie there that you can pull that off. That's the little connector. Okay, now, before I start messing with the wires in there, I'm just going to undo those screws. It looks like that's a standard screwdriver, so I got to get my standard out. And the new smoke alarm does not come with any mounting bracket screws, so I'll just reuse these if I can. You don't have to take these screws out all the way. You just loosen them up enough, and then you can unscrew this plastic. And see, they painted the ceiling, and hopefully I can get this. Okay, now I can swivel this like that, and it comes right over the screw head, see? Like that. Okay, now I can get in there, and I know that these wires are not hot, and I look at it, and because there's only one smoke alarm in here in the entire house, the red line is not hooked up, just a black and a white. And all the, see, when they're hardwired, you get a little goodie like this. That's what I'm working with. And see, this is the new one, and on the new ones usually they leave a little cap on here on the red one. And if you need to take that off, if you need to hook it up, just untwist it and pull it off, or just leave it on. In this case, I'm going to leave it on because I'm not going to hook it up. Because see right there, it's the red is not hooked up to anything. Let's see, you can see that a little bit better. Here's the red. See, it's not hooked up to anything. Okay, so it's as simple as taking the wire nuts off, black to black, white to white. So that's my next step. Okay, so now I have to take off that little housing, or this little bit here, and I'm just gonna swivel that off, and I can reuse these screws. Okay, now I go black to black and white to white, so I can just hold it up there. And you know what? These wires, the ends are sticking out pretty far. These wire nuts are fairly small. I think I'm going to cut off the tip of that. I just happen to have some wire cutters here. Okay, so the black, I'm going to cut it off a little bit shorter. Now my wire nut, the wire nut's designed, when you put it on, you don't want any of the other wire, bare copper wire showing, okay? They kind of went a little bit too far on that. Okay, so black to black. And see, if you did this with the power left on, you could take one off at a time, but it's not really recommended, especially if you can easily find the wire, the breaker, the electrical breaker. Okay, so I got black there, and now I'm doing the white. Some people say, hey, whenever you take old wire nuts off, put brand new ones on there, but these are a kind that I feel pretty comfortable with. Okay, make sure it feels snug, kind of pull on the wire a little bit. Sometimes you can think they're up tight and you pull on the wire and it's like, son of a gun, I'm glad I checked that. Okay, that's going to push in there. I want to make sure that's pushed up high enough, and this is kind of coming out in the middle. Okay, so far so good. You can do this anyone can do this. If I can do it, I'm just an average Joe. Of course, you can do it too. So now it's time to put on the new backing plate, and it's got lots of different screw hole patterns on here. There's enough for 3 different patterns. See here, there's one there, and then one on the left and the right and the left are different sizes. See, they're different widths. So one way or another, whatever size box you have should work. I'm going to kind of put it up in the one I think, okay, and just slide it over like that. That was the one. Now I can make sure that it's tight in place and tighten up these little screws. And fortunately for me, these screws are good. Sometimes if the head's too small, it might go right through. You might think, oh, I got to put a different screw in there or something. You only want to make these snug. Okay. That looks, wow, that's pretty close to being off. But it's, let's see here. Let's see if I can't twist that a little bit more. Okay, there. These screws are barely big enough. Okay. Just make them snug. All right, there. Looks good. Now I'm going to take my new one. There's 3 prongs on here. I'm going to line that up with the 3 prongs on here. Push it in tight. And then I'm just going to look. Here's a yellow tag on the side. I don't really need that anymore. It says something on there. You don't have to have that on there. But I got the date on there. And as people are walking up the stairs, I think I want to put the date maybe facing that direction. Let's just see. Make sure you got it fit up there, tight. That's looking good. There. I guess, see, there's a date there and there's a date over there. I guess it's just going to have to be, turn it to the right. And see, it went a little bit. Now I'm going to tighten it up all the way. There. It told me to push the test button. I'm not going to push the test button just yet. Okay? I'm going to go back down because I have the power off, remember? Feel on there, make sure you got it pushed up there, because sometimes you can think you've got it and on the other side you've got a little slop, and it's like, hey, I thought I got it in there just right. Maybe the red light didn't go on or it didn't chirp properly. That's because you probably didn't get it pushed up all the way and twisted properly. Okay, just be careful with it. Okay, before I press that test button, I'm going to go turn the breaker back on. Okay, I went ahead and turned the breaker back on. See, the green light is on. The power, we've got power. Now I'm going to go back up there and press the button. I just press it and hold it for maybe a second, and that's it. And then we're going to see what happens. That should go again here. That was fire.
Warning, carbon monoxide.
Carbon monoxide. It's setting itself. Okay. See, that was a carbon monoxide one, remember? And the smoke. And I decided to do that up at the tops of the stairs. Seems as though that's where the smoke alarm was. That way, if any gas comes up from leaking from downstairs, you're not going to smell it or anything. And people have been known to die just from a gas leak or something. Now, this not only detects smoke, it also detects carbon monoxide. Okay? And that, you don't necessarily have to do those in all your bedrooms. As long as you get something out in your main hall hallway, and then one down by the kitchen on the outside of the kitchen. Okay, we've done it by Joe. Okay, so this project, how long is this project going to take you? Well, you saw how long it took me. It would take less if I didn't have to sit and explain anything to anybody. I got one downstairs I did, and then 4 bedrooms, and this hardwired one here. The other ones were battery operated. And, you know, an hour or so comfortably, or maybe a little bit longer, don't worry about it. You can do it yourself. You will save yourself some money. Well, that's all I got for this time, but I'll be back with more videos.